So I've always wanted to level an Arcane Mage in World of Warcraft Classic, but if we're being honest, they're a pretty bad spec. In Season of Discovery, they're getting enough that makes me interested in thinking they may be a full damage spec. There's free runes for damage, and there's additional free runes for healing. Personally, I'm going to take 2 of the damaging runes and 1 of the healing runes to make a sort of hybrid build. So the first one we're going to take is Arcane Blast, which is the obvious choice. This is going to be your version of Frostbolt, your version of Firebolt, but the more you cast it, the more expensive it gets. When you've cast it up to 4 times, then all your arcane damage is going to increase by 60%, which is quite significant. I can only imagine scenarios in Stockades where you're using Arcane Explosion. I genuinely think I can top the damage meters with a 60% increased Arcane Explosion. It also makes Arcane Missiles compete a bit more with Frost and Firebolt. I still think, especially the top levels, they're still going to be doing more damage. But I will be interested to see how much damage that 60% will be looking like near endgame. What I'm really excited for is this massive move called Arcane Surge. It's a bit like a lay on hands, but for damage. So you're going to use your entire mana bar to do damage, and it will increase the damage of the spell by up to 300% based off the mana you spent on it. It's got a 2-minute cooldown, and for good reason. The damage this is going to do is going to be really high, so I'm going to try and get 60% extra damage from Arcane Blast, and then 300% extra damage from this, and hopefully we can see some weird one-shots and wacky things in PvP when we reach level 25. So the obvious rune they want you to take is Enlightenment. Enlightenment isn't very exciting for me, although it's the classic arcane one. So you get 10% damage above 70% mana, and 10% increased mana regen below 30% mana. But I think, personally, I'm going to be taking regeneration, so I can be a hybrid damage and healer. I just think the idea of polymorph, heal, damage is just going to be really fun to play around with. And lastly, I think the fire rune for 15% crit chance is also an interesting option to increase your damage.